boss?
I think two things there, right? Like, and it's ironic you're speaking to some of this because I wrote about it today on Instagram, but I think baby boomer generation, right? Like your father, like I'm younger than you, but you're not old enough to be my dad. And like, I'm the youngest of all of my siblings. So like my dad is almost 70, right? So I'm sure your dad is older than him, but they come from that same post-World War II.
My dad's 63.
Yeah, well, there you go. So they're both baby
I'm
boomers.
43.
So they're baby boomers, man. Like they're baby, right? And like I think part of it was just because even my dad, he's an entrepreneur. He got laid off from like an aerospace company when the Spaceship blew up on live television in the 80s, and electronics were not what they were now, right? Like that. Right. Once that happened, layoffs were just like crazy, and he couldn't find work, so he had to create his own telecom company. But he was still running it like a 9 to 5. Right. He wasn't making pivots or necessarily expanding something. I guess the way I would correlate it is like I appreciate what he did for us, but I feel like he just created his own job. I feel like he was self-employed, not entrepreneur. And there is a difference. But when you're talking about the fights, when you're talking about the fake shoes in the trailer park, like, man, that's painful. That's embarrassing. And I wrote on Instagram today, man, about some of this stuff, and I'll get a little snippet from it here real quick. But what I wrote about is people don't change until it's too painful not to. This isn't assuming that the only time people change. However, this is definitely most prevalent in my experience as a leader. It's not a lack of knowledge, it's not a lack of resources, and it's definitely not self-doubt, as romantic as that one sounds. Bottom line, more times than not, people just haven't had enough discomfort at whatever threshold they've become accustomed to. It's not when I think they should or anyone else. It's not when I think they should or anyone else, when their pain/discomfort in themselves or their situation becomes painful enough. Change, it's when it's like painful enough for them, change is now on the table. Finding your why is also one of the most romantic topics of discussion lately, as in the past decade. Personal opinion, I think a person's why is ever evolving and at times can just completely change, which by definition makes it a little inconsistent at times, which is why I feel motivation lacks periodically as well. Both your why and motivation are tied together. What doesn't change is your relation to prior pain, and no matter what, never wanting to go back to that ever again. Hence why I feel relating to your pain points versus the romantics of intellectual debate over why journeys is more productive. And I feel like when I'm hearing you describe some of your childhood and being made fun of and getting into fights and living in a trailer park, like that's pain. And like you feel that and you're resonating and there's no getting away from it, right? Like everyone wants to escape their pain nowadays as quickly as possible, right? Fail fast and whatever other romantic shit that's out there. Well, hey man, there's some pain big enough in this world. There is no escaping it. Like you're going to be there for a while, but when you're there, it marinates, it resonates. And I feel like every one of your accomplishments after that chapter of your life is almost like fueled by like never wanting to be broke again, never wanting to be picked on or whatever again, but also not falling victim to it. You took charge and accountability of your own life and you lit it on fucking fire.